This little piece here will determine whether you reach six figures or not. Okay, so ears up, pens ready.
My question, I guess, is so then I told her, I was like, yeah, food can have a lot to do with what you're experiencing. If you're willing to hop on a call with me later, I can see if anything I have to offer might help you. Otherwise, I can just send you along with some tips on how to just generally be gluten free. Um, so I was just wondering kind of how to approach this in a way where because I have a feeling that friends are just going to start coming to me for advice, you know.
So here's what happens when everybody hear this, everybody hear this. You'll hear me say it a million times and you'll still forget, and it's all good. Everybody hear this. This little piece here, this little bit that I'm going to share with you will determine whether you reach six figures or not. Okay. So ears up, pens ready. When anybody asks you anything, when anybody, friend, mother, stranger, when anybody asks you anything, the reply is always, great question, let's hop on a call. Your goal is the person who books the most call number ones helps the most people and makes the most money and makes the biggest difference in the world. That's it, full stop. Nobody was ever cured in a text exchange, just for the record, right? Nobody was ever cured by you just going, oh, eat this, eat that, eat that, eat that, eat that, eat that, eat this, eat that, right? Not one person ever. You can't cure somebody through text message. So you can help people in your container of transformation, your signature program. But first, you have to get them on a call and diagnose the situation, get clear on the situation. So I always give two answers, Tara, so it's all good because that's why we do this, right? It was obvious if everybody knew this, I'd be out of a job. But it's the same thing. It's so simple, people miss it. And that way, you've booked a call one. And the person who books the most call ones, you keep booking 8 call number ones a month, 2 call number ones a week. I would not let my head hit the pillow on Friday if I hadn't done a call number one with 2 people. And maybe that is phoning up a friend and saying, hey, how are you? And you directly reaching out to them and saying, hey, I was thinking about you. You were thinking about them because you just phoned them. I was just thinking about you. How are you doing? And just do that. Just do that. There's no pitching. There's no selling. Erase this idea, guys, that you're selling your friends. You're not going to do that. In fact, you're not going to sell anyone on anything. The only thing that you're to do as awakened healers here, as health coaches, as six-figure health coaches that you're going to be, the only thing people who reach six figures didn't get there by twisting a bunch of people's arms and convincing them to come in and having them kicking and screaming. No, lead with love, and see, and genuinely care about them. Genuinely care about that other person and be more interested in that other person than trying to be interesting with your own business and your own things. Ideally, they don't even know you have a program. Put $1 in the swear jar every time you use the word program in front of a non-client. $1 in the swear jar every time you do that, because you are killing your business with that. Instead, just give generously. So what does that look like? So she texts you and she says, hey, I've been just asked to do this, and we'll circle back around how synchronicity is just giving you a little nod and a wink in the right direction here. That was pretty funny. But she says, I need to do this. And you're like, that's kind of in my wheelhouse. That potentially there's a remote chance that it could be in a wheelhouse. For call ones, keep that funnel wide open, wide open. Like you want, don't judge them. Don't go, oh, they can't afford it. What, to get on a free call? They can't afford to get on a free call. Or they can't, they won't listen. Don't do that. Don't judge. Love more, judge less. Discern, use discernment, but but just wide open, because the person who does the most call ones, even in including all the wacky, crazy requests that you might get from people that are in whatever country, or 95-year-olds or 5-year-olds, just get everybody on the call. I'm not joking. I've got on a call with people and like, hey, I see you're from this location. I know where that is. I grew up there. Let's hop on a call. That's it. And they became my client, because in the process, I realized, oh, they really do. Now, also, I've done those calls and it didn't go anywhere except for a great connection. And sometimes I refer them off to somebody else. So your friend is in need. And now the purpose of that is to realize that that is an actual niche that people are wanting. And it isn't just go Google it. Like, if they could Google it, I mean, people could Google how to lose weight too. I mean, that's everywhere, but that doesn't equate to them actually losing weight. And so it's not obvious or easy. What's obvious or easy, oh, this is a good, what's obvious or easy to you is your zone of genius. So just notice that. And that's one of the reasons why people don't not naturally think of their niche, because it's so easy to them. My husband's got a brilliant mind. It works very differently than mine, but it's very excellent in problem solving. He was a mechanic, so was my dad, and he just can see a solution like others can't. And he has a '69 Dodge Charger, the one from Fast and Furious, just like that, a black one. And he took it out the other day because it hadn't been driven all winter, and he needed to burn off the old gas. Anyways, you can see, if I tell the story, I'm gonna totally mess it up. But something with the throttle cable, something or other broke on his way back. And so his first thought was, man, I wish I had a shoelace. Okay, if my car stops working, the first thing I'm not thinking is I wish I had a shoelace. Like that is not it. He looked for bungee cords. Anyways, he tightened this and he tightened that up, and he didn't have any tools and this and that. And then he was fine as he was coasting, but we live in mountains area, so he's trying to go uphill and it's not going. And so he pulls over to the side, and he's like, what can I do? And he brings out a toonie, that's our $2 coin, and somehow jams that in and was able to make it home. And so I'm saying, you're a genius. I'm like, you MacGyvered the heck out of that. Like, and he's like, well, it's just common sense. No, that's not it. I'm not a genius. That's just common sense. And so I was telling Ryan, who's my son that does our marketing, we were relaying the story. And as we got to the first part, he says, oh, did you have a shoelace? I'm like, what is this about the shoelace thing? And anyways, but he hadn't thought about the toonie thing. That was a whole other thing. And so the thing is, if you know the answer, it seems obvious to you. And so I'm just going to do a side note here. Tara and I were on our phase 1, phase 2 retreat, that call to go over her one pager, her niche. And that was just last Friday. That was just Friday. And so what's your power statement? We adjusted it a little bit. What's your power statement?
Yeah, we changed it a lot. But right now it's I help stressed out teachers lose weight, soothe their gut, and boost their energy so they have the stamina, resilience, and confidence to enjoy life.
Yeah. So when I combed her story, it was clear that Tara has a passion for helping people lose weight, because family members have gone through that. She's lost baby weight after pregnancies, but not she's never been obese, or anything like that. But she feels for these people, and that was kind of the niche that we were going in. And then they were saying formerly fit, I think, was it Ellen that was working with you?
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and we got the formerly fit was going to be the niche. And when I looked at the story, going gluten-free was a game changer for Tara personally. She had been, I think it was a shoulder injury that you went for, or some injuries, and an acupuncturist had looked at her abdomen and said, oh my gosh, you gotta stop eating bread. And not just because it was rigid and this and that. And anyway, she did. And her aches and pains and all sorts of things and her digestive issues all resolved like that. And then she did what every great scientist would do it. You go back to eating it because that couldn't have been it. And then the symptoms came back. So that really helps you, and that will help your clients when they get the pain back, then they can make the choice. I want the pain, keep eating this. I want no pain, like keep eating that. The thing about like an anaphylactic reaction, allergic reaction, people are pretty good with not eating something that they're allergic to. But the slow burn, right? The one that, just takes years to really wreak havoc on you, the sugars and the different things, people, the immediate consequences are not there. So I said, I think you should help people go gluten-free. And Tara said people can Google that, how to do that. Okay. So I'm like, well, people can Google everything, but it's not so obvious. And then Lisbeth, if you're on, I think you're on here, I talked about how we switched Lisbeth's niche at the last minute there because she was going to help stressed out something or others. And I mean, cervical dystonia, that's something that you're like Lisbeth's like unique at. And no sooner did we say, okay, I like do nurses with cervical dystonia, than like within days, she's at the doctor's and telling her the new power statement. And that doctor had just done rounds, and that morning, and there was a nurse in ICU with cervical dystonia. I'm just saying that's a little God wink, a little nod, a little, how about that? And so when we have that conversation on Friday, and you're like, I don't know, because it's so, how easy is it for you to go gluten free?
I mean, at first, the hardest part was the emotional, like, toll because I love donuts and bread and bagels and all the things. But I don't know, for me, it wasn't that hard to go gluten free because I just would be like, is this gluten free or not? Yes, I can eat it. No, I can't.
And how easy is it for you now?
Super easy. But now I'm not really eating like the processed gluten free things. I'm just eating whole foods.
Yes. So it's just who you are. You're on the other side of it. That's just who you are now. I had somebody years ago that we switched her niche, kind of we tweaked it at the last minute. Usually your niche is not a process, like eating gluten-free is like a process. So usually it's not the method because that's kind of the boat. For most of you, going gluten-free is the boat. But for some of those boats, that if that is a problem that people are looking for example, if this person is looking for, can you show me how to eat gluten-free? Like people are actually looking for that. And some people are actually looking to get off sugar, some not, but that can sometimes be a niche unto itself. And case in point, when you have people asking you for help with a particular thing, then or coming to you and sharing that and you can help them, that's a clue. So when I was a health coach and I was trying to do this, and remember I said I couldn't figure it out, and I was like, fine, forget it, I'm not going to do this. And then I was like, I couldn't do it, but I couldn't not do it either. And why did I say I couldn't not do it either? Because I would get these phone calls from friends and family, and I'm like, they would like, it's like bait. I'm like, I could so help you. I know I could help you, but I didn't know how to help them. And now we have a process to know how to help them, which brings us full circle back to what you were saying initially, Tara. So when somebody reaches out to you, and sometimes you'll see it coming and sometimes you don't see it coming. You'll be at a wedding or a baby shower or, at the soccer game, and somebody comes and approaches you with a question. And we want to get known as that person so that people do approach us with those questions. But when you get a question, especially if it's online, more so if it's a stranger. If it was a stranger, that person's gone. We dropped the egg. Okay. If you start answering questions in a chat, they're gone. You got to move them from online to on a call to offline on a call ASAP. That you got to do that. Okay. So because the process is, awareness and lead magnet if we have a lead magnet. But in this case, your power statement is really, what attracts them in once you're on that call, and then move it to a call one. And let's say you're on a call with them. Book a separate, like if you're on a call, it depends. If you reached out to them as a call one, no. But if you reached out, if you're talking about, I don't know, some event that you're planning, a high school reunion, and you're both planning this high school reunion, and then in the course of discussion, you realize, oh my gosh, I could help this person and they're wanting my help. You book a separate call. So be a professional, because otherwise you've blurred boundaries. And then you'll wonder, how come people keep asking me for tips? Because you keep giving answers like a friend with some tips, as opposed to a professional six-figure CEO who has a real grown-up business. So how you do that, now you can definitely help your friends out. You don't have to say, oh, I'll help everybody except for my friends and family. No, you can help them. But the more it looks like you're just, oh yeah, shucks, sure, I'm just sharing some free tips here and there. And then you'll wonder, why are they not paying me? Because you're acting just like you would as their buddy. But when you be a professional and you have business hours, my surgical hours of operation, where you scrub in and scrub out, and you set an appointment. And even if it's just in an hour, but you set that up and you put your coaching hat on, and you are in that role. It's like if they, let's say they, well, what would be well, let's say they're a nurse, and well, no, that's kind of a bad example because sometimes they do. So let me say they, let's say it's an accountant and they do your taxes, but they're also your friend, right? And you're like, hey, can you do my tax? I'd love your help if you could do my taxes. So if you're at a party, you don't say, hey, can you do my taxes? Okay, so here's the thing. I was wondering about this expense and this expense. No, you book an appointment for the following day. Like, that's what people do. So have them book an appointment. Why? Because they have a real business. They're real business. And are you going to expect to pay that person? Yeah, you are. You're not going to have them work and do their whole job for free for you. And neither will they, unless we're just texting. If you're just texting answers, nobody's paying for that, especially after the fact. So we teach people how to treat us. So when people ask us questions, so back to the beginning, how do we prevent this? And then what do we do now? So at the beginning, when somebody asks you a question, just say, great question, let's hop on a call. Or if you happen to share your power statement because you're asking them, what is it that you do? And then they turn around and they say, what do you do? And you share your power statement. And then they're like, oh my gosh, that's what I need. Then you're like, well, now's not really the time to get into it. It is never the time to get into it. Be a professional, book a time, because you want to be quick on that. The only reason you do a call one is to set up a call two. And call two needs to be pristine. No chitty chat, no talking about the weather. It's like, here's how it's going down. And you have to take the loving lead. And if they won't let you take the loving lead on a call two, they're not going to be your client. That's red flags all over the place. But we want them to come to know, why do they want it? What do they want? If they could be 500 pounds, but if they don't want to lose weight, leave them alone. Leave them alone. If they have to want the solution, and if they really want the solution, then there's no price that's too high. If they really, really, really want the solution. But that's the process of the call too, to just find out, how badly do you want it? So erase any notion of this selling people, and just get on the phone with people just because, not because you're like, don't look at them with dollar signs in your eyes, and don't look at them predatorily like that. Just connect and lead with love and see if you can help. But just know, no, KNOW, know that your signature program, I don't care how much it is, your signature program is absolutely the cheapest, fastest, easiest way for them to get the results. Always, always, always. Trial and error, staying with the problem, her staying with this gluten-free stuff, What she's going to have to spend it on doctors. She's going to have to spend it on medications for all the symptoms. She's going to have to spend it on all these. She's going to spend the money anyways. So why not do it in a way that has you feel better and healthier and get to the root cause of it? So your program is the cheapest way. So if you want to save the money, invite them in, but you only want to work with people who really want the results. Otherwise, you're dragging bodies and it's not fun for you and them. And they got to get clear. Do they want it or not? And it's not about whether they're you guys aren't the richest people on the planet. You just want this. You want to make a difference more than some other people. Some other people, yeah, if it lands in my lap, if it's a get rich quick scheme, I'll do it. No, you guys are serious about this. You're on a mission. You will not be denied. And that's a game changer. Okay, so next time we'll just do great question. Let's hop on a call. Okay. But now how was it left with her? So you did a call and then tell me how, and oh no, you didn't do a call. It was just texting back and forth, right?
So we're gonna have a call tonight.
Okay, call tonight. Okay, excellent. So now I'm going to just share with you because it's a friend. You guys have history. She knows, likes, and trusts you anyways. She's going to get on that call. But had that been a stranger in a support group or something else, or somebody who'd seen you do a 5-day challenge or do a workshop, had that been a stranger, they won't get on a call with you. Okay, so then we'll drop the egg and we could have helped them. That's why I call it carrying eggs. It's such a delicate process. So as soon as possible, as quickly as possible, get on a call. If you answer their question in a text, well, they're not going to want to get on a call with you. So they're going to just want you to just, reply in text all the time. So, okay. So now we're going to get on a call, and what does she think the call's about?
I didn't say, I was just like, um, if you want to get on a call later to see if I can help you, we can do that. And then she gave me a time and that works. And then, um, like, I don't know if she's going to expect me to give her my gluten-free tips on the phone because that's what she asked for originally in her text.
Yeah, and
And
it
then,
doesn't matter how crazy the thing is, like gluten-free tips, okay? Because that's their best idea at that point from the problem phase, wanting the solution phase, right? So that's their best idea. So so I would also, the reason you're getting on the call is not to see if you can become a client, not to see if you can help them. It's great question. Let's hop on a call. It's like, hey, do you have any gluten-free tips? Great question. Let's hop in a call. Hey, I have to go gluten-free. Do you know anything about it? Great question. Let's hop in a call. And then zip it, Skippy. Don't say anything else. Because otherwise they're going to just, they're going to just waiting for you to text it all out, and you'll give them some tips and they won't do it. Google it for free. Google gluten-free tips, how to go gluten-free. It's not the same thing. It is not the same thing. Google how to lose weight. You'll find an answer. Will you lose weight? No, you won't. Right? So let's be real about what she when you're on the problem side, you only know it from that side. So I would just, when they ask a question, you get on there, because if you say the swear word program, their first question is, how much is it? Now you're stuck, because that's like, if you were a doctor, that would be malpractice. That'd be malpractice to offer a treatment without even diagnosing the problem, right? How so full of ourselves that we're going to apply our treatment to everybody no matter what? Can't do that. So you got to go through the process. So you get them on the call. So ideally, you get them on a quick call, and it's a quick call. Call 15 minutes. You want to be like, oh, I'm so busy. Here, I have 15 minutes tonight. So the reason why Sherry had over 50 clients in her first year is, here's how she did it. She'd be out, there'd be an encounter like that. And you're like, you know what? I don't have time to get into it right now. I got time at 2:00. Does that work for you? And then you get on the call at 2, right? So, and on that call, you run out of time. And that's why you need to book the 2 o'clock. So it's just an initial, like, are we even in the ballpark? Oh, they just wanted to sell me their thing. They don't really want the answer. This is obviously out of my scope, but keep the bar low for getting to a call too, because you can use the practice anyways. Always, you can use the practice at doing those call twos. And it's really nice to do a call two and then not offer your program, because you're in integrity and you're like, I am not the best solution for this. And what you're going to do is only offer your best idea for them at the end of that call. That may or may not be you. Often it's you, but it may or may not be you. And whether it's you depends a little bit on all sorts of things. Do you already have a full client roster? Is it out of your, do you not know how to do it? Did they decide they're like, yeah, I'm a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10 that I want this? Leave them alone. Leave them alone. They want to keep their problem. They're 30% okay with keeping the problem. Let them keep their problem, because they will. It's up to them. Whether they succeed or fail is 100% up to them. Has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. You can just lead them to water, but they got to drink. And we can get all the supports and accountability and the steps and inspiration and all of the things, but still you can't think for them. You can't breathe for them. You can't do their push-ups for them. You can't eat for them. So ultimately it's up to them. It's up to them, but you can give them everything you know how to do. And for the right candidate, they're going to get results 100%. But whether they follow your plan, that's up to them. And that's the key variable. And that's for all of your niches. So for here, did you say how long you'd be on a call for?
I didn't say.
So here's what I would do. I would say, it's so good to see you. Now on the call one, you can do some chit-chatty catching up. Okay, because you get that out of the way. So it's like, hey, how are you? What are you up to? So tell me, like, what has, now you're asking the question. The person who's asking the questions is in charge of the conversation. All right. So if they're asking, how much is your program? How many tips do you have? What are the tips? You got any more tips? You got any more things? How good are you? How many people have you helped? Blah, 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 blah. Why should I trust you? Blah, blah, blah. They're in charge of the conversation. Flip it, because they don't know how to get to the solution. That's not going to get them anywhere. They're taking a stab in the dark. I don't know. Maybe I need to eat this. Maybe I need to eat that. They don't know. You know the solution. So now your time is to diagnose and be interested in them. So you find out, hey, how you been? Okay, great. So tell me, like, what has you think you have to go gluten-free? And what did she tell you? Did she say the doctor did, or?
She didn't say the doctor, but she said she has the arthritis and that she thinks her pain is related to food sensitivities.
Okay, so get inquisitive. So tell me more about what kind of symptoms are you having? So what is the problem? That's the first thing you're wanting to get from the call one. So tell me some of the symptoms you're having. What's the problems that you're having? And then why do you think that you need to go gluten-free? Why do you think gluten is the solution here? She saw a documentary. Her best friend was it, blah, 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 blah. And you go through that. Okay, so you find out that, then circle back around. And how bad is it? So you want to know, there's 3 things you want from a call one. What is the problem? How bad is it? What is the severity? And how urgent is it that they solve? You just kind of want to get a little inkling there. So how bad is it? Tell me a little bit about, and they'll talk about their symptoms. Let them talk about how stressed it is, how exhausted they are, how this is that. Let them riff, because you want to run the clock. You want to run the clock. You want to run out of time and book the proper time in the proper way, where you have at least an hour on Zoom set up and following the call to protocol, because it's a game changer, because then you can really find out and diagnose and dive deeper. So tell her what this is, and this, because if you just say, don't eat this, that's not helpful. What if that's not the problem? What if it's not gluten? What if it's dairy? Or what if it's something else? What if it's not even that? So just say, so why do you think, are we going to go with her diagnosis? I need to get rid of gluten. And then you're going to, like, so that's what a best friend would do. You know, somebody says, hey, I got to get rid of gluten. And how do you get rid of it? And you're like, oh, armchair quarterback. I read this in the magazine that you should quit this. So that's free advice. But find out why. Why do you think gluten's the culprit? Have you had gluten and then had symptoms and then not had gluten and not had symptoms? What makes you think that? And then, so you could say everybody's a little bit unique. And sometimes it's gluten, sometimes it's other things, sometimes it's more than one thing. And so what is the problem? How bad is it? What have you seen work so far? And how big of a problem is this? Like, is it affecting your work? Is it affecting your and they'll answer those sort of things. And you're like, then you're gonna say, and then I like to ask the magic wand question, but in this scenario, probably no time to ask the magic wand question of in an ideal life, etc., especially as you're going down this angle. And then you'll just say, gosh, I really want to ask more questions to get a better fix on what exactly is going on. Let's book another time when we have at least an hour, and we'll dive deep into this. And then I'll see if I can, and then we'll look at what's the best plan for you, given where you've got. How does that sound? And so then you're like, and give her an idea. And sometimes it could be the next day, but you could also do like next Monday at the same time, because then you can come to sales clinic next week, and we go through that next week, for example, and then we go through the call to process. But good for you for booking a call one. That's awesome. That's awesome. And you can get away with it with friends, but ideally really fast, get them on a call. If you're looking for help in creating your successful health coaching practice, check out this video next on how to make 6 figures with your health coaching practices and the 5 key pieces you require in order to do so. Check it out. Be good for you.